Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series. It's pro-level ladder action this afternoon, which is good because it means that there shouldn't be too much stuttery, laggy in the later ends of the replay. First of all, it's been a while since I've done it, so I'll know you forgive me. Guys, hello and welcome to my newest subscribers. Fantastic to have you on board. And if you like what you're looking at, guys, but you're not 100% sure what it is you are looking at, the game is Supreme Commander Forged Alliance, not, I repeat, not Supreme Commander 2. It's available on Steam for £10 or 15 US dollars, or whatever the equivalent is in your local currency. And all you need to do to come play with us here at FAF, it doesn't matter if you have a retail copy or the download edition from Steam, all you need to do is once you have the game installed, download the Forged Alliance Forever multiplayer client. You can find a link to that in the description below this and all my other videos. What will that allow me to do, Guile? I hear you say, well, it's quite simple. It'll allow you to come chat with us in the main chat. It'll allow you to come play with us on any of a number of integrated mods cunningly woven into the fabric of the client in such a way as to make the whole thing very easy indeed. Allow you to browse our replay vaults, our mod vaults, our map vaults, all free of charge once you make that initial outlay. And it's quite interesting, actually. I was looking at it today, always do every now and again when I'm going to do the little promo bits at the beginning of these, to see if it's on sale or whatever, see what the current cost is of FA. And Supreme Commander 2, which came out years later, what it was like 4 or 5 years after Forged Alliance or something like that. Maybe it wasn't quite as long as that, but it's now cheaper than Forged Alliance, which says something about the popularity of the two games. So if you're thinking about playing Supreme Commander 2 by mistake or misclicking and going that way, don't do it. This is where the action is, and FAF is the only place now to play competitively on Forged Alliance. Alright, that's enough of that. Let's get on with today's game. As we said, it's going to be a ladder match, and that action is going to take place on Haven Reef. I'm ready, you guys are ready, and the players are ready, so let's go on over to the game zone and see how these guys are going to get on. Now, I'm not 100% sure, because we are knocking on door. In fact, this is the 300 cast. I hadn't realized. Hooray for me! 300 cast. I should be doing something special, but I'm not that organized. So there we go. I'll do something organized at 500, I promise. I know people were banding around the idea of doing a Thermopylae with the whole 300 thing, but yeah, I'm not doing that. So anyway, but I'm pretty sure this may well be the first ever time that I've casted a match on Haven Reef, which is crazy because it's actually an incredibly interesting and dynamic map, but it hasn't seemed to make the ladder pools for, well, just about forever. I'm guessing it's not a particularly popular map amongst the player base. It's certainly awkward. You've got this central landmass, of course, and then these two side landmasses. What have you got at each end? So you've got the 4 core mass there and then another 4 there, so 8, 16 mass in the center, and then 4, 8. So, I mean, it's completely even. If you grab the two side islands and get ousted from the central landmass, which is something that happens more often than not, because as soon as one player diverts resources off to try and capture the edges of the map, then of course that often leaves them vulnerable if the other one is trying to push more heavily on the center. But yeah, I mean, it makes for very interesting dynamic games. Anyway, let's take a look at our players. We've missed the opening build orders. I know you'll be absolutely gutted about that. But anyway, first up here at the top in the blue corner, we have Chosen, who's going Aeon, opening first land, a second land queued up there next to the mass extractor down there. And his opponent down here at the bottom, it's Leon. Unthinkable. He's going Seraphim. So again, no Cybrin featuring in today's ladder match. And he is opening first land, going second air. So potentially earlier air coming out for our Seraphim player there from Leon. A Selend Scout rolls past an early lab from Chosen that's heading on down towards Leon's main base. And he's probably going to run straight into a Tham that's lying in wait for it down here. How much attention is Chosen paying? Well, a little bit. He's microing now, having eaten 2 of those shots, but doesn't escape the 4th after evading the 3rd. Engineer already pottering out off to the northwestern corner island, or corner landmass, I should say, for Chosen. And you can see he's queuing up a couple of land factories right in the corner of that landmass, up amongst the UEF wrecked buildings. Still some functional civilian trucks in there. They should go for a pretty penny on the celestial version of Gumtree, which of course is absolutely flying in economic terms with all of the reclaim that goes on in the SOCOM universe. That air factory now already up and running. He's going straight for an interceptor initially, so playing defensive rather than offensive off the bat. Chosen has actually managed to get a early air factory up as well, and he conversely is going straight for a T1 bomber. So Chosen looking a little bit more aggressive in the opening phases of this. One lone Zooey making its way off to this side of the map. It's going to run straight into a Spirit, so the cat will be out of the proverbial bag there. And there's also a Aurora, or an Aurora, rolling in as well. I'd say rolling in, hovering in is a better adjective for its motion. Oh my goodness, but despite all of the micro from Chosen, Leon still manages to score the kill there. So those two units wiping each other out inside the first 4 minutes here. Both of these guys pretty close in terms of eco, 19 to 17. And that early bomber that Chosen was working on has been locked onto by the early interceptor from Leon. That is going to be a kill there for Leon. So that initial aggressive play not working out there for Chosen. In comes a T1 transport there for Leon with 5 engineers on board. That's going to go straight over to the bottom right hand corner and drop off in various locations, trying to secure both the next section up there that heads off towards the headland, the peninsula up there, and of course the main section of the landmass closer to the bottom right hand corner. He's going to keep just 1 engineer to head up towards the top section and leave the rest to get work going down at the bottom. T1 bomber rolling in towards that lone Spirit that was just chilling on the beach there. Not so much of a beach as more of an ash covered bay, but a nice little bit of micro keeps the Spirit alive and gives Chosen's interceptor enough time to shoot down the bomber, but that in turn gets destroyed by another inti brought in for Leon. That transport now locked onto by another interceptor from Chosen. Is there anything out to defend? Yes, there are, so he should manage to hold on to that transport, I think. Well, actually, it's going to be close. It could do with changing its orientation, its direction or something, but it wasn't to be, so he does manage to snag that. A little bit of a micro fail there from Leon, but he was probably concentrating on a different part of the map altogether. Nice little bombing run from Chosen, takes out one of the engineers that's heading north. We have got a distance build from Chosen up on the peninsula here, so Chosen is going to try and contest this drop into the bottom right hand corner. And I should say, of course, this is an incredibly close ladder match based on ranking. 6-8-8 there for Chosen versus 6-2-7 from Leon. So this should be a pretty finely balanced match between these two players. Still yet to see any naval yards under construction, which is, I suppose, would seem unusual. I'd say it's unusual, but I haven't seen an awful lot of the matches that have been played on this. Obviously, there are more of them happening these days with its introduction or popularity increasing in the ladder pool. But it's hard to make any judgments on what the meta is going to be. But the engineer working on that mass extractor out by the edge of the bay there is killed off by an Aurora, and another Aurora brought in as well. The FAM manages to defend against that incursion. Land factory online. We have a couple of flares that have been completed. We did have a T1 PD that was going up there for Leon. Engineer, though, subsequently killed off by those flares, and that will prevent Leon from securing the peninsula, at least for now. A couple of Zooies rolling in, but some good micro from Chosen should allow him to outmaneuver the artillery pieces. A couple of artillery versus a couple of labs is usually a pretty short fight, and that's exactly what we see here as they succumb to that mobility. And would you look at that, another drop from Leon, this time to the peninsula of the northwestern landmass. That's a lot of build capacity. He hasn't got going yet, but there it is, and he's going straight for mass T1 factory land spam. Lots and lots of build capacity there, and he should be able to establish some pretty serious production in a pretty quick time. But Chosen is on the move, so he's rolling down the causeway, the main land mass now, the central land mass, with lots and lots of Auroras. Has the odd Thistle in there for a little bit of anti-aircraft fire. First obstacle will be the wall section, and then a T1 PD at the base of the neck here. But there's not a lot else going on for Leon at all. In fact, Leon is still shifting resources out to the side islands. What's his intel like? Well, he's got coverage, so he'll be well aware of the threat that's heading south. But he doesn't yet know that part of that threat includes the ACU. So Chosen really making a push here and going straight for a T2 PD. So Chosen with the gun upgrade and Tech 2 engineering suite on board the commander. This should be a pretty short fight up front on the central landmass. Meanwhile, back up to the northwest, T1 units rolling in and beating down mass extractors as Leon looks to oust Chosen from this part of the map. Back in the bottom right, units still funneling up to the narrow point on the bottom right-hand corner. If you can hear my dog going nuts in the background, I do apologize. He's definitely got learning difficulties. Probably seen a squirrel outside or something, but look at that. FAM's tearing through the last of those units, and I'm not sure whether that was a Control K. I think it must have been. It seemed to be very many units coming that way. Chosen killing off that land factory, but with no engineers around to scoop it up. It's an interesting decision. Chosen, though, breaching through the wall sections in the middle, has erected a naval yard down here as well. And I do believe that's the first naval yard to be completed. Another one down here under construction. But I'm doubtful that that's going to be finished, as it looks like Leon is going to have to give very serious thought to evacuating his main base. He has a T2 land HQ currently producing Tech 2 engineers out of it, and still that continues despite what's coming his way. Obviously, I'm guessing he wants to try and get some Tech 2 point defense online. No upgrades on Leon's commander at all. And there goes a Tech 2 PD under construction. T1's queued up as well. Aurora's coming in around the side to harass from the back, but the major problem is going to be coming from the land base side. Meanwhile, the last unit and structure is destroyed up in the northwestern landmass. That is a win there for Leon, so a lot of extra mass extractors grabbed there for him, and the story very much the same down in the bottom right hand corner. If Leon can hold here, it will put Chosen in a very, very difficult position indeed, but that remains to be seen whether he can pull that off, because Chosen just up here with the ACU, and looks like he's got a little bit of a point defense creep going on, and also a tactical missile launcher online back here as well. Just take a look at what that can actually reach. Well, would you look at that? That's pretty significant. So it can hit everything on the peninsula up here, up in the northwest, as well as everything, of course, down in the main base down here as well. But Leon now out front at the foot of his base, trying to fend off this T1 spam as it heads on in to cause as much damage as humanly possible. T1 bombers getting shot down by T1 anti-air. Leon into the red now, 6,000 hit points, and falling as the Oblivion turret back here opens up on him as well. Chosen also rolling in to deal with this personally. Remember, not just that T2 engineering suite on board, but also gun upgrade as well. Leon's going to have little choice here, I think, but to evac. Of course, all the while this is going on, lots and lots of resources being harvested elsewhere on the map for Leon. So currently 49 to 25 generated mass per tick in favor of Leon. So still with an advantage here. TAP missile launcher going to work on the T2 point defense emplacements. Takes one of them down. And it's definitely, I think, at this point, fair to say Leon going to lose his main base, and if he's sensible, he'll be getting his evacuation plans together. Doesn't want to get caught, and he can't be certain that there aren't naval vessels hanging around up here. He hasn't done a huge amount of scouting recently that I'm aware of. There goes the last Tech 2 point defense in the main base for Leon. T1 PDs being thrown together at an alarming rate by Chosen. The odd Ilshiva sticking it out, trying to combat the new point defenses as they're being constructed, but it's going to be no use. And that will be the end of the T2 land headquarters as well, and Leon now scooping up as much mass as he can from all of this before Chosen takes over control of this territory. Meanwhile, up here, we've got a bit of Zooey spam now going on from the top left-hand corner, heading in towards Chosen's main base. Radar system going online in the nick of time, so Chosen will suddenly be aware of these units heading his way. We'll have to do something about it very quickly, and would you believe it, he's hit Tech 2 Air at the perfect time, produces a Spectre, which is sent straight out to combat the incoming floaty, naughty. Meanwhile, Naval Yard completed down here for Leon, and lots of Zooies are going to be successful in killing off that Naval Yard from Chosen. Very precarious position to place that in, considering he wasn't in control of that bottom right-hand corner island or landmass. And there is the status or scenario that we were talking about at the beginning of the game. It looks very much like, at this point in time, Chosen is going to emerge in control of the center, with Leon in control of the two corners, both of which with equal access to mass. Another drop by Leon. Lots of Zooies inbound. They're going to manage to find a energy storage. That was Chosen's one and only energy storage, but he's certainly not really going to be requiring overcharge anytime soon, so no massive disaster there for him. Still one hero, Ilshiva, sticking it out, causing as much damage as is humanly possible. I don't think he's going to last too much longer as he runs into Chosen's ACU. There he goes. Well done, Bernard. You did your country proud. In come a handful of Auroras for Chosen. One frigate already online. And a sub as well, and an attack boat rolling in for Chosen. Chosen still yet to get his naval production up and running anywhere else, and now he's under threat at his main base from some frigate spam. Trying to combat it with Tech 2 gunships. Faring reasonably well, considering. Looks like at that rate it might be 2 frigates for every gunship lost. Attack missile launch again from the center from Chosen. Takes down the T1 naval yard there. And will buy him a little bit more time, although another naval yard recently constructed up here as well, and is producing frigates, and of course 2 more up here as well. Leon can get to Tech 2 anytime soon on those naval yards. That will dramatically change the face of this game. Park a cruiser down here and suddenly all of the mass points in this area become vulnerable, and that's a lot of area to cover with tactical missile defense if you're going to try and turtle up in the center. I think I'd have to say, if I was going to want to be in anybody's shoes right now, I'd much rather be in Leon, not just because Chosen still needs to get control of the mass points, which have been picked off here and there by passing vessels. But the fact that Leon is established in the naval game and Chosen, for the most part, struggling to find a safe place to construct his navy from. Another drop in from Leon up at Chosen's main base. Chosen's main base taking an absolute kicking here. But the Auroras managed to finish off the Zuis in pretty quick time. It's now 14 to 33 generated mass at current reading there in favor of Leon. Chosen still trying to breach through the bay at the bottom right-hand corner. Of course, he's facing off with Auroras, so even if he does manage to break through the wall of FAMs using the Aurora's superior range, he's got point defense to worry about and not being able to engage those from the sea with any artillery. Really means that the structures back here are relatively safe for Leon at the moment. All of those structures currently on pause, so Leon prioritizing the top left-hand corner in terms of production, it would seem. There goes the 2 frigates that Leon sent to intercept. Attack missile out again from the center, heading up towards the top left-hand corner peninsula, picking off those T1 factories. Also paused production for the time being. Has Chosen got a read on that naval yard down here? Well, no, he hasn't. He's really got very little read on anything. He's got the occasional bomber flying around, but no radar coverage to speak of. This is a very tricky situation indeed. He's going to be facing off attacks from both sides now. Not sure why these interceptors here for Leon aren't being told to engage that T1 bomber over in the east. Just one cruiser though could change this game, put the final nail in the coffin for Chosen. Another drop inbound. This time it's FAMs. Zui's struggling to contend with the Auroras that have been randomly placed around the base of Chosen. But definitely the gunships, the workhorse of Chosen's army right now. Or Chosen's military, I should say. But for a 20-minute game, both of these guys sub 35 mass per tick. It really couldn't be balanced finer. And on most other maps, you'd expect them to be doing a little bit better than this. That's why we're not seeing Tech 2 Navy being rushed into. Leon just can't afford the expenditure right now. Sitting predominantly on T1 mass extractors everywhere still.
Commander under attack.
In fact, I'm not certain there's a T2 mass extractor on the board for Leon at the present time. But out front with the ACU helping to defend the bay. It's now going to get a sonar system online and start work on rebuilding the naval yards down there in the bottom right-hand corner. Still no Tech 2 Navy on the way. Imagine what cruisers would do at this point. How about Chosen? Chosen must be sitting on Tech 2 mexes. That's an Oblivion turret, so that's no good. There we go. So we've got some couple of Tech 2 mexes down here in Leon's old base. Mostly T1 up at his, but that's what's allowing him to keep up with Leon, and actually, he's actually inching ahead. I can't quite believe that. 35 to 29 in favor of Chosen right now. Attack missile launcher with 11 kills. Couple of them, no doubt, the mass extractors up here that Leon is currently rebuilding. guess Leon feels he's doing enough right now. Probably do with taking off with his Air Force. He does just that, but not before one of the aircraft is unlucky enough to run into a further shell. So many inties hovering above the base now. Any gunships or bombers that take off from that T2 Air HQ get almost insta-gibbed. There we go. That's a lot of T1 transports circling around the edge of the map. Heading down here, I'm guessing, to pick up some of these THAMs, which have either been overproduced or are a hangover from Leon's initial push at the early part of the game to conquer that bottom right-hand corner. (35 to 35). Let's take a look at mass killed. Well, Chosen has been more efficient in that area, 27k to 24. That will, of course, be part and parcel down to the fact that he ousted Leon from his base, his main base. So that's a lot of killed mass right there. Latest mass reading 37 to 30 in favor of Leon. So the lead changes pretty consistently. I'm still not seeing any significant venture into Tech 2 mass for Leon. We've got one upgrading there. Could he now be prioritizing? So we've got one Tech 2 mass extractor there. And another on the way. So Leon must be feeling a little bit more confident, at least in this portion of the map. And he has got T2 Navy down here next to his ACU now. So that could be, as we said before, the final nail in the coffin. But Chosen has managed to get T2 Navy up as well, which is pretty impressive when you consider the amount of harassment he's been under. Admittedly, most of it has been up at the other end, up at his starting location. And I think he is prioritizing that, Leon, perhaps a little bit too much. Chosen actually gets the first T2 naval vessel online in this game, which is very surprising indeed. And that sub hunter making a beeline, it would seem, off towards Leon's T2 naval yard. Of course, he has got sonar down here, so he should know that's coming. And is starting work immediately on some T1 torpedo launchers. I think he should be able to defend against a single solitary sub-hunter. Wall sections going up in Chosen's old base. Mass collected. Leon actually has a slight advantage over the course of this game, 61 to 58, and that's doubly impressive when you think of all of the reclaim that Chosen grabbed from stealing Leon's starting location. Lots of overproduced T1 units up here that Leon is looking to drop into the main base, and I think the drops at this point, personally, if it was me, are a little bit too much of an unnecessary eco sink. Much better off trying to grab and hold naval supremacy. A lot of T1 bombers in for Chosen, right into that build capacity, and heavily damage some of the emplacements. In fact, they take out the T1 anti-air and nearly kill off the T1 torpedo launcher as well. So that air attack, just a forerunner to the sub-incursions. This is good stuff from Chosen. Interceptors brought in by Leon, but he's now facing swift winds, so a massive tech deficit there in the air. Numbers are in Leon's favor in terms of units, but is it enough? Sub-Hunter is destroyed. We have got a destroyer online in the area for Leon, who could do little worse right now than to start work on some torpedo launchers, which is what he's doing. Attempt at a little counter-attack around Chosen's commander and his naval yards is unsuccessful, although the T1 bombers doing a good job at thinning out the engineers around that, slowing down production of those units. But still, 28 minutes and the mass totals have barely budged. Chosen in the lead again, 39 now to 27. That is because Leon is bottlenecking badly on power, needs to get a handle on his power grid as soon as possible. Is he building some power anywhere? Not that I can see. Definitely needs to up his production. 30 minutes gone pretty much in this game, and Tech 1 bombers still proving a useful feature that shows you just how stifled this game has been. Neither player able to successfully navigate their way up the tech ladder and hold on to that technology. Mass Extractor there survives attack by a frigate with just 80 hit points, but look out, massive Zooey drop inbound, and the swift winds we saw earlier I think have been taken out. These transports should land, but we do have Spectres rolling in to try and counter them. They're going to get picked off by Leon's interceptors, and surely Leon should be able to destroy Chosen's shipyards here. As the huge volleys arc in towards their target. Chosen rolls out under the water with his ACU, trying to reclaim Zooey's as he goes, but he's lost his shipyards. And that will give Leon a massive advantage, even if he does park his interceptors right in front of Chosen's defenses and then hovers above them, letting them get slaughtered by those Seekers. But he won't mind, not really. He'll be pretty happy with the destruction of that Tech 2 naval yard. And still working on Chosen's starting location base with frigates. Chosen not giving up the ghost, trying to harass the bottom right-hand corner with Tech 1 bombers still. Interceptors that were providing cover at the main base now being dispatched to defend the bottom right-hand corner, and then coming back again as it looks like the T1 anti-air emplacements are doing their job. But Leon doesn't micro his destroyer at the coastline there, and that gets taken out by Tech 2 point defense. But Leon, hoofing it out on foot, is now counter-attacking. Now he's got the T2 engineering suite on board, and I'm guessing he's feeling, since he thinks he's going to grab naval supremacy now, he really doesn't need to worry too much about the safety of his commander, because he can always drop back into the water at any time. I'm guessing that's what he's thinking about there. He's going to go up here, do a distance build at the cliff face here, and throw down a Tech 1 PD and a radar. It's amazing how different minds approach things in a different way. I would have thought it would have been much easier now to just plow everything you've got into both eco and naval production and kill off Chosen from the coastline. Certainly that's the safer option. But pros so used to being cavalier with their commanders don't ever hesitate to use them at any opportunity, and that TAC missile battery still paying dividends there for Chosen as he takes out the T1 PD recently constructed there at the cliff edge, and might score a hit here on the destroyer as well, but doesn't quite manage it as Leon is paying attention. But in comes a torpedo bomber, and Chosen, not hanging about, has got 4 T1 naval yards online inside just a minute or two. And a lot of swift winds turn up as well, so suddenly Leon's ability to contest or contend with the torpedo bombers could be compromised if Chosen's swift winds gain air superiority, and then that will put him in a pretty pickle with the location of his commander situated where it is currently. Like the placement of the wave break, the Tech 2 torpedo launcher for Aeon there in center of those 4 naval yards, but another drop from Leon. Zui's brought in, going straight after one of the naval yards and then switching up targets to the others and that torpedo launcher. And would you look at this, interceptors for Leon just getting shredded now. Chosen trying to pick off Leon's comm, or at least inflict some damage on it by landing a TAC missile on the waves above and hoping he's close enough to the surface for AoE to do the rest. I can't believe it. Chosen has managed to get another naval factory up to Tech 2, and he's doing all this from minus 14 mass deficit. Leon on 45, Chosen on 31. Another drop underway, but Leon under pressure now from the skies. Spectre's opening up on his commander. He's just sitting next to the cliff edge there. Gets underwater, but now he's not safe from the skimmers, which are just circling above. Now they can go to work on him. And look at the damage they do to a commander, down to 5,500 hit points already. He's got to get back out onto land and find a way to deal with the gunships if he can. Not sure if he's not facing the worst of both worlds there, being half in and half out. Here comes a drop, a Zui drop that somehow collides with the fire or something from those gunships. Leon down into the red on 35 minutes. Even the Tech 1 bombers having a go now. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Leon, in a stunning error, brings his commander into the fray. Has finally got a cruiser online, but it's too late as his commander goes pop. The cruiser just arrives on scene. Could have done with that anti-air about 2 or 3 minutes ago. Could have done with a cruiser about 20 minutes ago. Goodness me, but taking nothing away from Chosen. What a fantastic, fantastic match. Very unusual. More games on Haven Reef, please. I like that map, and I hope after today's cast you will too. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. As always, more to come from me in the future. Don't forget, if you feel so inclined, you can support me on Patreon. But until next time, stay well and stay safe. This is Guile, signing out.